Cell phones and social media have forever changed our world and how we communicate with one another. Parents today have to navigate the challenges of raising children in an always online environment and the impact social media platforms are having on young people, including addiction-like use, anxiety, depression, exposure to harmful content, and online exploitation. Here in Southern Alberta, the Internet and Child Exploitation Unit, or ICE, reported a dramatic surge in online child sexual exploitation, with cases rising from under 400 a decade ago to 1,500 in 2022. One possible solution is to place age restrictions on social media. But will this work? Could it work? Joining us from Vancouver to chat about this is Josette Calleja, who is a parent coach, an executive and wellness specialist. And then we also have Robin Sherk, who is a Toronto-based mom of 4 with expertise in research and analysis to support policy discussions and child digital safety. She co-leads the advocacy efforts of Unplugged Canada. Welcome, ladies. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Wonderful. Okay, Robin, let's start with you. Can you tell us what Unplugged Canada is all about?
Sure. So Unplugged Canada is a grassroots movement of volunteer parents that are looking to protect children's mental health and doing that by delaying the introduction of smartphones and social media. So we band together in communities across the country, and we have chapters from Nanaimo to Northwest Territories to Newfoundland. So it's been a really exciting movement to see grow.
Yes. So my understanding is you have a federal petition underway calling for a restriction on access to social media for anyone under the age of 16, right? So what kind of support are you getting from politicians, from parents, from the general public?
Oh, it's been fantastic. So we know that 7 in 10 adults, or just all Canadians, support this ask for a government-enforced age minimum of 16 on social media. And then in terms of the political support, we have fantastic support from MPs across the country and across parties. So it really is getting that broad, that broad support from everyone.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you mentioned it sounds like 70 out of 100 are. So we're looking at 70%. Not necessarily everyone agrees with the idea of a ban. Maybe that would be the 30%. But it looks like concerns have been expressed about privacy risks, the effectiveness of age verification tools. Some of it requires users to provide government-issued IDs or submit to facial recognition technology. And that, of course, raises privacy concerns. So any thought on that?
Yeah, well, I think there's 2 pieces there. One is the data privacy, and the second is how age checks work. So on the data privacy front, I would say that the privacy nightmare is now. Right now, we're letting these companies harvest massive amount of data about us that includes our picture, our voice, our deep psychological profiles. And we're letting these companies enter children into these contracts without even their parents' knowledge or consent. So that's what's happening today. What we're asking for is some sort of enforcement of an age minimum. We know that these companies already know our ages. The Privacy Commissioner had a report last September where they were estimating, they found TikTok was estimating people's ages, but they were using it to target ads to children instead of enforce their own terms and conditions. So to your point on how do age checks work, there's various methods. You're right, there's age verification, which requires government ID, but there's also age estimation, which does not. And the methods or the approach they took in Australia is it explicitly says these companies cannot require government ID as the only method to check. And we're already seeing new methods come online. Like to your point, does it have to be a selfie scan? There's actually new methods that have launched in the last year. So one example is Apple launched an age range API. So this device is owned by an 18-year-old or by a 12-year-old. And you don't know anything about the person. You just know this is an over 18 device or an under 16 device. And with that, they're already in Australia using that information to enforce this age minimum. So we're going to see this technology improve and develop as more countries around the world start to enforce age minimums as well. You're going to see the technology enter, and we can do this in a very privacy protecting way.
Interesting. Okay, I guess another angle on that is that social media platforms are designed to be addictive, and that perhaps the bigger issue is the algorithms used by big tech companies, like you were mentioning there, targeting ads towards people that are younger. So perhaps there needs to be regulations requiring those algorithms to be changed to stop targeting kids.
Well, I think we really support a layered approach because you're right. An age minimum in and of itself doesn't fix everything, but it's a key piece of the solution. So I like the analogy of driver and driver safety. You expect your vehicle to be safe and to have seatbelts. You expect to have driver's education before you get behind that wheel. And you expect an age minimum, so you're of an age to be able to handle some of those risky situations you might encounter. We see the same with social media. We want platform accountability and safer platform design for everyone. We want more digital literacy for everyone as well. It's a lot of what Unplugged is supporting, is raising awareness, raising education too. But we also know we need age minimums so that children are ready to handle that risky environment they're going to be put in.
I understand that you want to see more chapters of Unplugged Canada open up across the country, and that perhaps, and that, parents can maybe start a local chapter as well. So can you explain how someone would go about doing that?
Sure, I can do that. So absolutely,
Lovely.
we'd love to see more chapters across Canada because that's how we spread the word about who we are and what our mission is. And we're all about safeguarding children's mental health. So we have about 20 chapters right now across Canada. And this is like we want parents to join. They can spread the word through their schools, their faith communities, their neighborhoods. So starting a chapter is fairly straightforward. Our website offers free resources and guides that actually walk you through the outreach process step by step. So anyone who's interested can reach out directly to our team. You can find our emails on unpluggedcanada.com. And we're happy to walk you through a guide. And we're there to connect with you, answer questions, and guide a volunteer through getting a chapter started.
Awesome. Part of your campaign, I understand, is to have parents pledge to delay getting smartphones for their kids until they reach the age of 14. So what are your concerns over kids having a smartphone?
Oh my gosh, we could spend the whole interview talking about this. And in your intro to the segment, you mentioned a few as well. But so I'm gonna name a few. First, like cognitive strain and delayed development, particularly on really young children. We're seeing exposure to inappropriate, harmful content. We're talking like early exposure to pornography at the age of 10, beheading videos, extreme violence, lower self-esteem, constant comparison, behavioral addiction, and this need to compulsively check your phone, greater vulnerability, cyberbullying, sleep disruption is happening, widespread, fragmented attention, and a reduced ability to focus. And that's happening to adults and children alike across the board. Less physical activity and outdoor play, a weakened sense of identity, and really like this reduced connection to the real world and to other people. And I think that's what probably concerns me most, is this loss of self that kids are having because of the lack of connection to themselves and to the outdoor world. And they're getting their value system through influencers, not the important people in their lives. And I think this is really sad. And it's tough to resist the lure of these algorithms that are curated exactly for what you're looking for online. So to expect this resistance from children and to have the willpower to resist is really unrealistic, because at the end of the day, their prefrontal cortex isn't developed enough for them to have those skills to self-manage.
100%. That's not even developed until the 20s, really, sometimes mid 20s, especially in boys. And anxiety and depression is rampant in kids today. I just feel terrible for them. I know in 2024, schools here in Lethbridge, where I am, they banned students from using cell phones during class time. Most adults were certainly on board with this and applauded it. But Josette, what would you say to parents who insist that their child needs a smartphone to communicate with parents in order to stay safe?
So there are other safe alternatives they can use. They can use a basic flip phone. They can use a simple watch, like a call-only watch. And then I also would want to challenge parents, while there is an important need to connect, do you really need to connect with your child like for every minute of the day? We don't want to take the power away from children to self-manage and to be able to problem solve and manage their day through those like little like small life challenges, because that's what's going to give them resilience and the ability to problem solve for when they're older. So I would say also, even if your child asks you for a phone, what is the need? Is it because they want to call their friends? Is it because they want to use the camera? Is it because they want the music on their phone? So there are different devices that can allow for that. But so anyways, in terms of safe connection with your child, it doesn't need to be a smartphone. There are alternatives.
Yeah, I think we all grew up without it. And, somehow we survived, and our parents did as well. I know that part of the conversation is about parental responsibility versus state control. And many citizens believe that parents, rather than governments, should be primarily responsible for regulating a child's social media usage. However, we've seen how that's turned out, right? Your kids, say your kids want a cell phone because all their classmates have one, or a social account. Plus, let's face it, kids are sneaky too sometimes. But Josette, is this something worth talking about because it's easy to blame the government? The parents likely have more direct influence on training their kids than the state does, or do they, especially when it comes to social influences?
Okay, so hands down, parents have a vital responsibility in setting boundaries and sticking with those boundaries. We can be empathetic to our kids. We can say no. We can also say not yet to a cell phone, which really softens that no, right? This isn't a forever thing. This is like we are protecting childhood now. And what I'm finding is parents are really hesitant to enter into that conflict with their children, and we need to have it. And we need to educate our children in terms of why these phones are harmful. And if we can give them an explanation of how these algorithms work and how big tech is actually making money off of these kids, I think kids themselves would make smarter choices. So yes, I think we absolutely play a role, but it would certainly be helpful for parents if we had the legislation to follow, because then you can say, it's the law. It's not just me saying no, it's everybody saying no.
Yeah, exactly. Use it as the scapegoat there. Josette, you actually touched on this a couple minutes ago, how important it is for parents to encourage their kids to spend in-person time with their friends rather than just screen time. Let's get out there and play sports, play games. Let's talk, let's chat.
100%. It is absolutely important for kids to have these real world experiences. I mean, this is what healthy development is all about. It doesn't happen on a screen. I mean, what we're starting to see now is because so many kids are spending so much time online, we're seeing that they're actually not able to have real relationships, or they don't have the ability to kind of read a situation or read emotion on somebody's face. So we need to reinstigate a life of connection offline.
We're about out of time here, but really quick, ladies, can you tell our viewers how to get involved in your Unplugged Canada campaign?
Sure. I would go to unpluggedcanada.com, and there you can learn more about the pledge. You can get resources if you want to start a chapter, or you can sign the call to action to join the community that's supporting the age 16 social media minimum as well. So I would go to unpluggedcanada.com, and you can find all the resources you need.
Perfect. Thanks so much for being with us today, Josette and Robin. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.